Welcome to 8-Bit, the show where we interview our friends in tech to find out more about them by asking 8 bite-sized questions. I am here today with my good friend, Chloe Condon, the actual host of the 8-Bit show. We're flipping the script. My name's Brandon Minnick. Chloe, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks. I'm so excited. I get to ask these questions to so many people, and now I finally get to answer them.
That's right. We've got you on the other side.
Yeah.
And so let's jump right into it with question number 1. What is your earliest memory of tech?
I'm so excited to answer this question. I have props. Okay, so my earliest memory of tech, my dad was a professor of theater, and we were living in Sacramento and for a little bit in Santa Barbara, and he was given a computer, one of the early boxy little Mac computers. That basically could only do word processing, but he did purchase me a game called The Playroom, and I still have the little plushie that came with it with the Velcro on the back that you were supposed to put on your mouse so you could use your mouse. And my earliest memories are playing that game, and I still have a lot of number, letter, I would say color association, but it was a black and white game, of course, with how I learned all those things. And my earliest memories are sitting on my dad's lap while dictating to him these stories, which my parents put in this book for me. And you can see it's just me playing with a computer, just typing my name, writing things. And I would always tell him stories and dictate them to him. Here's one. And they all sound pretty much like this with a slight change. This is from January 22nd, 1994. Big Bird had an owie. He always has an owie, and the Hunkerdinger is on the rampage, parentheses, she laughs. And they went to dance class. They always did trips all day, and they went to Chicago. And then it says, wait, hey, Dad, wait. Zoe bumped Daddy's head, the end. So basically every story is slightly different, but there's a swimming pool or like whatever is going on that day. And since my parents weren't in technology or knew a lot about computers, it was sort of the first magical computer thing, and this little mouse was like a really big part of it. So I keep this little plush mouse on my desk to remember my early days with computers.
I love it. But follow-up question, what's a humperdinker? Did I get that right?
Hunkerdinger or Hunkerdinger. I'm pretty sure he's a character on Sesame Street, and he has like either a trumpet for a nose or something like that. But
yeah.
You can also see in these stories different vocabulary words that I have learned throughout, like rampage. He was on the rampage. Like, I'm not really sure why someone that young was using that word, but daughter of a playwright, I guess.
I love it. So question number 2, what is the last piece of technology or hardware that you bought?
Okay, so I was trying to think of the answer to this question, and I went into our office to ask my boyfriend, and I thought I was going to give you a really cool answer of something cool or interesting that I bought, but he mentioned that I'm losing my earbuds so often that I'm often having to buy a new set of earbuds. I think we're going to finish shelter in place and just find like 25 earbuds around the house, but the last thing I bought was a pair of earbuds because I keep losing them, and I don't know how because I only really go to the 3 same rooms every day. But Bluetooth earbuds, and these are waterproof, so I listen to podcasts and stuff in the shower and when it's all over the place. I always have an earbud in. So earbuds, probably my 3rd or 4th pair in the last 6 months.
Oh wow! So how is the sound quality? Because I just bought a pair of waterproof Bluetooth earbuds myself, and I got them for swimming, and I don't love the sound quality on them, but at the same time, if I wore my normal earbuds in a pool, they wouldn't work at all. So I guess something's better than nothing. But yeah, how are those with the sound quality?
They're good. They're noise canceling so much so that sometimes my boyfriend has to yell at me to get my attention a couple feet from me. But I currently have my eyes on, and I promise this isn't a marketing plug. There are some really, really cute ones that just came out after build from Microsoft that are circular, and they kind of look like little earrings. So I'm really interested to buy those and try those out, because these aren't really the cutest. I follow a couple people online who have done some really cool. I think Sailor HG has done this. She made some little earrings out of her iPhone
cool
earbuds. And so I might use my old ones if I ever find them. They're kind of like missing socks from the laundry, and maybe craft something with them. But I'm really excited to try the Microsoft ones because they're just really cute.
Love it. And speaking of loving things, we know you love earbuds, but what other technology, question number 3, do you love?
Ooh, more props. Okay. So I love robots. I brought a couple robots here. Here's a toy robot that I used to have as a kid that used to do flips. But right now, I'm bending over to get my friend here. I'm playing a bunch with this Misty robot and adding a bunch of Azure stuff to it. So very, very early on in my childhood, I was given a robot for Christmas called, I think it's like a robot by Tommy, and it literally said, "Hey dude, what's up?" And it had like a basketball on it that you could
Like
throw
the
basketball. Rugrats? Oh my gosh.
Tommy from the Rugrats?
Oh
Am I
no,
just way off on that?
Tommy is a toy brand. I actually think Tommy may have made, Tomy. But I had this little robot called My Pal 2, and it was clear, and you could see all the wires inside of him. And I was an only child, and my boyfriend loves to point out how very only child this is, but he was basically like my brother, and I would like bring him everywhere and play with him. So yeah, it's really cool that this like kind of, I've just always really loved robots. I don't know if you've ever seen a Pepper robot. Sometimes they're in a lot of like airport lounges, or sometimes they're in like, I think they might have had one in the Microsoft store when I went to one recently.
Grinder?
No, oh my gosh, that would be so cool. I wish just like have a robot put pepper on my salad. I should think about that. But no, there's a robot named Pepper who's very expressive and has hands and can greet you. And I saw one in Japan. It was really, really cool. And Misty is kind of a mini version of that. It's still very expressive. So it's been really fun to kind of play with making something that truly is just like a bunch of wires and hardware, like have emotions and thoughts and feelings and like do expressive things. If you look at my YouTube, I actually, around the holidays at Waffle.js, did a duet with Misty. We did an HR appropriate "Baby It's Cold Outside." If you want to know what that means, you can watch the video. But yeah, there's just so many cool things that you can do with robots. And my next project I'm going to do is I drink a lot of sparkling water to hydrate throughout the day. And I'm going to program Misty to detect how many cans are on my desk. And she can tell me if I'm hydrated, or maybe I should like cool it on the sparkling water. So, I think it's fun because I can kind of program my own little friend or sibling or, little robot butler.
Love it.
I love robots.
So with technology, especially robots, there's always that chance of the robot uprising and taking over the world, and none of us would like that. So question 4, what technology do you dislike the most?
Evil robots. No, I'm just kidding.
Next question.
So I thought about this question because I really do love all technology. I just think that I really I dislike technology when it's used for mean or malicious intent. And I think a feature, quote unquote, that I'm not a huge fan of is being anonymous on the internet. I think there's a time and a place for it. But as a woman in tech online, I am such an advocate and a fan for moderation tools. But I have just seen too many anonymous posts about myself or other people, or some of these apps that are sort of toxic, like Blind, where people can really kind of speak their mind freely, but not really have any consequences to what they're saying. It's really easy to be mean online. And I very much personally feel like that girl from Mean Girls who's like, I just want everybody to get along and with sunshine and rainbows. I do think that we all work best together when we're, being nice so any sort of like app or feature that allows people to just say really mean things for the sake of being mean, not a fan of it.
Yeah, it's a good point. You're right. It's surprising what people will say when they don't have accountability. It's
Oh,
a good
yeah.
way of putting it.
Yeah. So I think any sort of technology that masks your identity so much so that you can kind of live in a Westworld, like, I don't care, here's my opinion, it makes me very uncomfortable. And so I think if you're going to put your opinion online, it's always best to kind of like attribute that to someone. And I just don't like any technology that allows people to be mean for the sake of being mean.
Very well said. Question 5. What other profession would you want to attempt?
Ooh, okay. So in a previous life, as people may or may not know, I was an actress. And my dream job that I always wanted to do is work at Disneyland. And I got to do a little bit of that in my life as a children's theater performer. I got to work at Children's Fairyland and do a couple of theme parky-esque things. But I worked as a children's birthday party entertainer in college, where I got to dress up as princesses. And there's really just no other pure joy than a child 4 or under that actually believes that you are that princess. Like, you are, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely auditioned for Disney many times. It is my dream job. Of course, I cannot work there now because I have a tattoo. I'm out of the running unless, maybe they'll look past that for me or wear long sleeves or something. But I've always wanted to be a theme park entertainer. I don't know if that's something I'll ever end up doing now, but I'm such a Disney fan. I love theme parks. I just love the magic of a theme park. So I think being in a Disney parade or Universal parade, any sort of thing like that, I would just have so much fun doing, just for a day even.
Love it. Yeah, I grew up in Orlando, and so not to flex on you, but I have worked at Disney. I have been in Disney parades.
Oh my goodness. This is brand new news to me that I cannot believe we have talked about before.
Yeah, so I was on drumline in high school, and the Universal Studios would have Mardi Gras parades every year around the time of the holiday, and they would just recruit local drumlines. So yeah, I've marched in the Mardi Gras parade a bunch, and I've worked 2 jobs at Disney. One's as a lifeguard, another renting out bikes at the Boardwalk Hotel, and then I even had 2 internships in college. So I did the Disney. Ooh, speaking of props.
Love a prop.
Ta-da! That's
wow.
my old Disney name tag.
Center it so I can see it. Put it in front of your face.
Ah.
Yay! Engineering the magic. Wow.
That's right.
Oh, I'm jealous. I always wanted one of those badges.
I literally have code I've written that's running. Well, maybe it's still there, but it's a Small World, Dumbo, Aladdin. Have all had my
cool.
code, had my Dutch.
Actually, I want to change my answer to this question. I've done the whole princess thing. I've played princesses on stage. I've done that. I want to be an Imagineer. That is my dream job. I want to make the theme park experiences for other people, because there's really just something about like theme park magic that even as a 30-year-old woman still suspends my disbelief, like when I'm on a ride. So I think that kind of flows into the whole robot thing. I think animatronics are so interesting, and like they've now become so lifelike and detailed. Like, I don't know if you've seen a couple times Johnny Depp has actually gone into Pirates of the Caribbean and like just been himself, because the animatronic is so lifelike, you can't really tell the difference. And I think that's so cool. And whenever I go to Disneyland or any theme park, actually early in Shelter in Place, my first YouTube rabbit hole I went down was just theme park performances and theme park live shows. And I was looking at all these vintage rides from like back in the day, that even some of them that have been removed in the last couple years. And I love that we're in this new world of AR and VR and mixed reality, but much like the Star Wars films, I think there is such a magic to like the realistic puppet-like animatronics that we have from that 70s, 80s, 90s period. So I'm so much nostalgia for like Country Bear Jamboree, and like we have a lot of taxidermy in our house, and I always joke to my boyfriend that I want them all to sing. So yeah, I think being an Imagineer would be so cool. Like we just got a galaxy projector for our bedroom, and I was like, ooh, I could see this like on the Peter Pan ride or something. So maybe I'll just turn my apartment into a theme park while we wait for things to get back to normal.
There you go. Disney, if you're hiring,
No. Microsoft is comfortable for now, but Disney, let me know if you need a specialty and quirky things.
That's right. So we've got 5 more minutes and 3 more questions. So let's move.
Do this.
We're moving to some rapid fire. Question number 6: what profession would you not want to attempt?
Ooh, this one is difficult. I do not think that I would want to do any sort of job that would require like saying no to people or telling people to stop doing things. So I feel like I'd be a really bad lifeguard. Or just like sort of like policing things, just like being like, don't do that, stop running, or like shushing people, any sort of thing where I had to go up to people and tell them to stop doing it. But specifically, I used to be a camp instructor, and I taught a lot of ages from like kindergarten to 6th grade, and I cannot handle teenagers because they have attitudes and I look very much like a teenager. So I don't think I would want to teach high school. I think that my dad actually ended up growing a mustache when he was a high school teacher because he got stopped in the hall. So I guess I inherited his very youthful looking genes. But I don't think I could be, I really love teaching people, but similar to what you said in your 8-bits, I don't think I could teach high school.
So no lifeguarding, especially not around high schoolers.
Do that. You're like, pass your notes, live your life.
Love it. Well, question number 7. What technology do you wish existed that does exist in film or TV?
Ooh, okay. So it's funny because my favorite like futuristic film, because I only recently got into sci-fi, being newer to the tech space. My life used to be all musicals. I used to love the movie Xenon Girl of the 21st Century, which was a Disney Channel original movie about this girl, Xenon, who lived on a space station in space. And her dad was like the commander of the ship and everything. And originally my answer for this, before we had FaceTime and video chat like we're doing now, was, oh my gosh, I wish I could video chat my friends. Also, everybody drove a VW Beetle in that movie, and I used to have a VW Beetle. So a lot of these things did come to life for me. But one thing that I really wish existed is self-driving cars that you could take on long-distance trips. Specifically, I was just watching the new show on Amazon, Upload, where basically the car is just like a little living space where you just like hang out and you can just like go from place to place and like get work done and like hang out with your friend or like go on a road trip and like just sort of enjoy the view. I think that would be really cool. Of course, in Upload, like one of the first things that happens, spoiler alert, is one of them has a malfunction and gets hacked, but I would want them to be secure. So whoever's working on that, make sure that you're using Microsoft to secure all your
Love it. Well, final question, number 8 of 8-bit. You mentioned being a big fan of musicals. So let's ask this. Give me your top 3 musicals in order of costume design.
In order of costume design? Wow. Okay. Well, top 3 in order in costume design. I think this is a good question, Brandon. All right. I have not seen it on stage, but I'm going to add this one to the list because I've watched a couple videos of it, and the costumes are just so whimsical and incredible. SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical, did some incredible stuff with their costumes.
Really?
Specifically, Squidward does a tap dance, and as we all know, Squidward is a squid and has a bunch of feet. So really, really cool stuff with the costumes in that I really hope I get to see it live on stage someday. So that one for sure. I am a huge fan of Legally Blonde the musical. It is my favorite musical. I would love to be in it someday. It was always my dream role. I very much identify with Elle. But there are so many different, if you've ever seen Legally Blonde the movie before, there's so many different like scenes and parts where it's like Elle Woods gets to dress up as a drum majorette, and then she's, in a bunny costume, and then there's just so many things that happen in that show. So it's always really, really fun to see that. And then, Another fun one that I love. This is so hard to just pick three. Okay. I love the musical Gypsy, one of my favorite musicals. And what's really cool about it from a costume perspective, if you're not familiar with Gypsy, it is a true story set to a musical, of course, about a burlesque performer who was sort of this ugly duckling who rose up into fame and became one of the most famous, it's all about a stage mom and all this different stuff. But there is a scene where one of the dancers in it has a light up costume. And as a performer, I thought that was just the coolest thing that this, someone gets to go on stage and like wear a costume that lights up like a Christmas tree. So I guess those would be my top three. I'm sure I'm going to think of so many later. I have seen videos of Mean Girls, and the costumes look really cool in that too. But yeah, oh man, difficult question.
We've really come with the heavy hitting questions here at 8-Bit.
Yeah.
Well, so Chloe, thanks so much for letting me host this show today and for joining me on your own show. My name is Brandon Minnick, and this has been another episode of 8-Bit.